Who jumps out of perfectly good airplanes in the name of science? Mr. C.
Well, happy Aloha Friday. And I can legitimately wear my Aloha shirt today. And a Mele Kaliki Maka to you as well, because I've got my Christmas Aloha shirt on. And in keeping with the Christmas theme, I have a couple of awesome Christmas jokes for you, or not so awesome, as the case may be. So here's the first one. What is black and white and found in the Sahara Desert? Black and white, found in the Sahara Desert. A lost penguin, of course. And this one, how do you keep a reindeer from smelling? It's very logical, very scientific. Hold its nose. Anyway, look forward to a couple of more on Monday. I've got two more choice ones, just as good as the two yesterday and just as good as the two today. So you've got a white sheet out already. You've got this out already in front of you. We're going to work with this and finish up with this. Mr. C, what I want to know, have you got another Christmas gift for us, like giving us some more hints on the test? I do, actually. So, I do. Hey, do you get the idea that my intent is to cause you to relax about at least my test? You know exactly what the study guides are. So you've got all the study guides. You know what they are. You know what you've got to study. So this weekend, have at it, especially you students who have me for periods 1, 2, and get that other finger up, 3. So you have my test on Tuesday. So we will review again Monday. It's a review day. So, and don't forget, 7th grade, review the astronomy packet. The astronomy part of the test is very similar to test number 9 that you just took. 8th graders, review LS 1 to 12, the genetics and cells and microscope. Your kind of middle part of the test follows very closely test number 9. So very closely. I used test number 9 for 7th and 8th grade to build my semester exam. Astronomy, 7th grade. Genetics, 8th grade portion of the test. So anyway, more coming. Let me I have a little prayer with you. May I? A little prayer? So, and then you pray on your own too about your test. But I want to bless you by putting your mind at ease. You got this. You know what the study guides are. You're going to hear again what the topics are on the test and even a few of the test questions. So I'll pray for you if I could. Lord, I thank you for these, my 7th and 8th grade students. I sure wish I could be staring at their eyeballs right now and in front of them. But I love them. I care about them. I want them to know that. I want them to do well on the final. I pray that you'll flood them with peace. I pray that you will give them a discipline to study for their test, actually triple R quite a bit. And then I just know they're going to do really well. So give them peace, put their mind at ease, help them to relax about their science semester exam. And I pray in Jesus' powerful name, amen. Okay, this is a secret. Don't tell anybody this, okay? Don't tell. Don't tell any other teachers, okay? All right, here it is. Little secret. Your semester exam is important. It's important, so triple R for it. but it's not worth an overwhelming percentage of your semester grade. So your semester grade is determined by factoring in the first and second quarters and then the semester exam. So the semester exam is a smaller part of that average. It's not a true average, really, mathematically. I'm just saying. So coming up. Okay. So anyway, you've got your white sheet out. On your white sheet, I'd like you to write down, just quickly, 4 ways that you are different from animals and like God, based on Genesis 1:26, which you might end up writing on the test. Then God said, let us, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, the us, let us make man in our image, in our likeness. So how are you like God in small ways? And because of that, very different from animals. See if you can come up with at least 4. I think I've got 8 here. Who knows, maybe another 1 or 2 will pop into my head. So finish writing those. All right, the first one, made in God's image. That's how you're different from animals. Made in God's image. Number 2, you have an invisible part of you, your soul and spirit. You have a conscience, a sense of right and wrong. You have hyper emotions, very sensitive emotions that God gave you. You have self-awareness. I don't think I shared this one with you. Self-awareness. That means you're aware that you exist. Animals probably not so much. Self-awareness. Way more intelligent than animals. Eternal. You'll live forever. And creative. Very creative. So there's 8 right there. And I'm going to ask you to write 4 on the semester exam. 4. Half a point each. Half, 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 2 points. Okay? Okay, here we go. On your white sheet again, see if you can write down what FOAMN plus B stand for. Now don't look at your chart. Turn it over. Turn your chart over. Don't look at it. What is the F pillar, the O pillar, the A pillar, the M pillar, the N pillar, and the B pillar? All based on foam. So F equals, O equals, A equals, M equals, N equals, B equals. Is it on the test? You betcha. You'll have to write what they stand for. I'm telling you. Folks, by the time we get through today, I probably will have given you at least 30 points. Not questions, but 30 points. That's a lot. How many is that? 25% maybe? At least. F for fossils. O for old age. A for accident. These are the supposed pillars that hold up the evolution idea. Now, is it really great if you have built your home or your factory out of shaving foam? Is that a good thing? No, what's going to happen to the building? It's going to collapse. That's exactly what happens to the evolution idea. It collapses under close scrutiny. When you scrutinize something, you look at it closely. When you look at the data that evolution is built on, you go, oh, I can't believe it's just not scientific at all. It's silly. It doesn't make sense. It just is not logical. And I want you to never forget it. Don't let anybody ever tell, oh yeah, the evolution is so scientific. It's just, yeah, there's just loads and loads of scientific data. No, there's none. 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 The Bible says God made everything, and it's obvious he did when you look around at the complexity, at just the precision. Oh yeah, there's so much science evidence and biblical evidence that God made everything. Okay, so A for accident, M for mutations, N for natural selection, and then B for the Big Bang idea, which we'll get to in a minute. All right, what is the evidence about the fossils, the leftovers of humans, animals, and plants that are buried in the sedimentary layers that the flood formed? So, no tweeners. And since there are no Oscar Mayer tweeners, it proves that evolution isn't true. No tweeners. And the big fat scientific term for that is transitional forms. No transitional forms. And then we've got the A pillar, the accident pillar. That makes no sense. So now you've got your chart, okay? Here's what I'm looking for on the final. For fossils, no tweeners and no ape men. Check this out. This is a chart that some of you have seen maybe in the past. There's this side of it. And you look at this and go, oh yeah, evolution. This is the evolution of living things. They just gradually change from apes all the way up to modern man. Oh yeah, this is so scientific. Except, you know what? None of these exist except the humans at the end of the story because God made them. None of these so-called in-between apes to men exist. They don't exist. Scientists pretend they exist. They even will say they exist. They're lying. They know there's no data for them. It's a pretend thing. It's fake news. Fake news. None of this exists. It's just makes me angry. It's just because it doesn't exist and it tries to trick people. It's Satan behind it. He's just trying to trick people. Man, just is steam coming out of my ears? That's how angry I get about the evolution idea because it just does not have science behind it. And that's the whole purpose of this. So, the fossils, no tweeners, no ape men. So I'm going to ask you for a couple of answers. Okay, got to hurry. We'll take a break in a minute. You see this quote down here? Right down here. You don't have to go for this. This is an option. I'm going to give you probably 3 extra credit opportunities. You can only do 2. And they'll be worth 2 points. Not 2%. Not 2%, but 2 points on your test. So if you miss 2 points and you do these 2 bonuses, then you miss 0. They'll take the place of 2 points that you miss. You don't have to do them. You see this quote down here? This quote is from a very famous paleontologist. Huh? What's a paleontologist? Remember ology, study of, and then paleon, it's the study of fossils. This fossil expert, who was an evolutionist, he didn't believe in God, here's what he said. He admitted that there are no tweeners. Look what he said. The extreme rarity of transitional forms in the fossil record persists as a trade secret of paleontology. Here's what he said. The fake news about paleontology is that there aren't tweeners. Now, he said the extreme rarity, but if you pinned him down and said, well, give me a whole bunch of examples of transitional forms or fossils changing from one kind to another, he'd go, oh, I really can't. Not 1 or 2 that maybe are maybes. Well, should they have 1 or 2 or should they have a bazillion? Bazillions. So he admitted they don't exist. So, and then the O pillar, the old age pillar. And here's a question I could ask you on the test. If evolutionists don't have old age data, what does it mean? There's not enough time for evolution to happen. There's not enough time for the slow, gradual changes. You see what it says right up here at the top? Millions of years, millions of changes or mutate. Not enough time. You don't have millions of years, guys. The solar system and the universe is probably only thousands of years old. Not even 10,000 probably. The Great Flood laid down all the sediment really quick. That's evidence of young Earth. Okay? So anyway, you're going to give me two evidences that the Earth is young, or the solar system. Not enough moon dust. The Earth is too hot inside. The moon's too hot inside. The comets keep coming back, and they should have all melted a long time ago if the solar system is that old. There's too much gas and water still in the rocks on Earth that should have leaked out. You only need to give two of those evidences. The solar system and the Earth, not that old, not enough time for evolution. And then the A pillar, the accident pillar. Things are way too complex. They can't be accidents. Just random processes. No way. So now I give you mele kalikimaka. I put complexity down in the test. You've got to give me the two laws that argue against the A pillar, the two scientific laws. One of them is the law of cause and effect. Nothing happens by itself. It's got to be caused. That's science. So the law of cause and effect. Evolutionists claim it's just all accident. Random processes. Nobody doing it. Just doesn't make sense. Folks, we live in a cause and effect universe. A cause and effect Earth. Things aren't just accidental. If something happened, something made it happen. There was a cause. So you're going to give me the law of cause and effect, argues against the A pillar, the accident pillar, and the law of biogenesis, which says this. You 8th graders know this from your genetics study. Where does life come from? Only from life. Life can only come from other living things. Humans make humans. Giraffes make giraffes. Penguins make penguins. Life doesn't come from non-life or from nothing. It's just, well, God, from nothing from God, but once he made it, then every kind of living thing makes its own kind. So, and then one more thing about the A pillar. I can't wait to tell you this. Then we'll take a break. Listen to this. Oh my. Listen to this. Okay. See if I can find this really quick. I think I've got it up there. There it is. Oh, wow. Are you ready for this? This is argument against the A pillar. If you used this argument, you'd have to do the whole thing, the whole enchilada. Okay, you just can't do one of the ingredients of the enchilada. And we're having Mexican food tonight. Ordered in. So I had to use enchilada. Had to. All right, listen to this. This is from a famous Christian scientist by the name of Stephen Meyer. He's got a PhD from Cambridge, I think, in the UK. Really a bright guy. That's why he went to Cambridge. C.S. Lewis maybe went to Cambridge. Okay, really smart guy too, Christian, smart guy. All right, are you ready? Quit talking about their accomplishments. Now listen to this. A minimally complex cell, just one cell, but it's minimally complex. It's not one of the most complex kinds of cells, like for instance your neurons, your brain cells. If we assume a minimally complex cell and it needs at least 250 proteins to keep it running, just one cell, it would have to have 250 proteins. Each protein of those 250 would be made out of an exact order of amino acids, the building blocks of proteins, like a muscle cell, for instance. it's made of at least 150 amino acids. And they've got to be in the right order, or if you get one amino acid out of order of these 150, it's not the same protein. It won't make the same protein. And DNA makes these proteins to make these cells. So DNA is even more complicated. So listen to this. If you've got a minimally complex cell, it would have 250 proteins, and each protein would be made of 150 exact order amino acids. Okay? The probability of just that one cell forming, actually just one protein forming in that cell, and it would need 249 more to make it work right. Just one protein, the chance is 1 over 10 to the 164th. A 1 with 164 zeros behind it. Just one chance. That's it. Could it ever happen by accident? No. That's the math. Mathematically, it couldn't happen by itself. Listen to this. The chance for all 250 proteins to form accidentally, random processes, each one having 150 amino acids in just the right order, and each protein would be a different order of those 150 amino acids. The chance for all 250 of those proteins forming by accident, evolving in other words, 1 over 10 to the 41,000th. 1 over 1 with 41,000 zeros behind it. That's just one cell, folks. How about the 30 trillion in your body? And they're not minimally complex. So it's an astronomical number. What's the point? The human body, or even one cell in the human body, it's not possible mathematically to happen by chance. Can't happen. Evolution can't happen. It just destroys the evolution idea, the accident pillar. So, looks bad, doesn't it? Oh, real bad. Okay, isn't that cool? So, just one protein of the 250 needed, 1 over 10 to the 164th. All 250 of those proteins in just one cell, 1 over 10 to the 41,000th. It just boggles the mind. Hello, how can you even possibly, given that you're a smart person, even start to think the evolution idea could be true? Man, are you deceived. Woo! Okay, break time. All right, guess who's back? You had your little break. I hope that helped out. Okay, hey, we've got 3 more pillars, and they're easy peasy. Okay. By the way, if you can tell me all that data right there on the chance for just one protein forming 1 over 10 to the 164th, so, and that's just one minimal cell that's got 250 proteins, 249 more. So 1 over 10 to the 41,000th for all 250 proteins in just that one cell. If you can tell me that story, that'll be a bonus point. And I've got another bonus point for you here too. All right, look at the M pillar. What does it stand for? Mutations. Here's what a mutation is. It's where a segment of DNA changes. Normally DNA is stable. You don't want the DNA that's forming your cells that are constantly reproducing. Your cells are constantly dying, but reproducing before they die. They make another cell before they die. A lot of them don't live that long. So the skin all over your body, the outer skin is made of cells that are constantly dying. So, your skin flakes off, and those are dead cells. The cells die. Okay, but new ones form underneath. Okay, so if there's a mutation, that means an abnormal change in the DNA, it'll make an abnormal cell. And if it's really abnormal, it could make a tumor. A tumor? That's cancer. Right. Yeah. really abnormal cells. You don't want mutations. So evolutionists think that mutations, that's the only thing they can come up with, that mutations where you have bad changes in the DNA of cells, that's a good way to make evolution happen. Huh? That makes no sense. So that's why I want you to highlight the evidence about mutations. I'm going to ask you for a couple of answers. In fact, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to ask you. Right here, what is the data about mutations? Right there. Mutations are, oops, over there. They're rare, they're harmful, and they're often fatal. Ooh. They're rare, they hardly ever happen. When they do happen, they're harmful to the organism, the living thing, and they could be fatal. And that's, wait a minute, that's your mechanism for making things get more and more complex, from molecules to man? Gee whiz, evolution is so weak, so lame. Mutations is their major mechanism for making things change. Well, it's a harmful, even fatal mechanism. Okay, look at natural selection. I'm going to explain it to you. The N pillar. Natural selection. Natural selection. Natural selection is basically the survival of the fittest. You've heard of that, right? Survival of the fittest. Okay. Survival of the fittest. Here's the idea that Charles Darwin, had in mind. Okay? And right now you are seeing a picture of Charles Darwin. Charles Darwin originally came up with the evolution idea. So you're seeing a picture of him. He ended up going around the world on a 5-year trip. He was the naturalist on the trip, and he took notes of animals and studied them, and plants that he observed on that 5-year trip. And he came back, and shortly after that developed his evolution idea. Okay? And one of the ideas was natural selection, and the N pillar, natural selection. Here's the idea. It's sort of like nature selects which animals and plants are going to keep on living and which die. But that makes no sense. They're all going to live. All the plants and animals are going to live. Why? Because God designed them to be able to live. So the survival of the fittest, it really doesn't hold water. It doesn't make sense. The animals and plants and humans were designed to survive. They're made to survive. So the survival of the fittest, it's just, it doesn't make sense. Look what it says. It doesn't cause change, it gets rid of change. So God created plants, animals, and humans so they won't change normally. Normally, they're not going to change into something abnormal. And then the abnormal plant, animal, or human would die out. That would be natural selection. But God designed us and then made us to be able to survive on Earth. So, anyway, natural selection, it just doesn't work. See what it says? Doesn't cause change, but gets rid of change. Okay? You got it? You with me? Okay. So, then, look at the Big Bang idea. I'm going to explain the Big Bang. Now, I'm going to try to scare you, so be ready. Okay? I'm going to try to scare you. Here's the Big Bang idea, and then I'm going to give you evidence against it. Doesn't make sense. You see, evolutionists had to have a start, a way that the universe would start, that evolution would begin. Well, this is what they came up with. Okay? And you hear about it all the time, that it's the truth, and there's evidence for it all over the place. Well, one of the evidence is, and I'll just explain how, well, wait a minute, that isn't necessarily evidence for a Big Bang, okay, big explosion. When you look at the edges of the universe, it looks like the universe is expanding. Well, easy peasy, God created an expanding universe. What's so big about that? Big deal. Okay. Now there's some other things too. When you're When you get older, you'll learn some of the more sophisticated arguments that don't make sense either. Okay. All right. So here's what they came up with, evolutionists. You've got to have a way to evolution to start. You've got to have a way for matter to start. So I'm going to explain the story to you. Be ready to be scared. Okay. Here's the idea. That atoms all over the universe began to attract each other. And they attracted each other from everywhere. All the atoms in the universe attract each other. And then they come together. And then they really, as the mass and gravity grows, they come together and they cause a tremendous explosion. Boom! There's a scare. So, and then all that matter begins to spread out all over the universe, and it begins to slow down, clump together, start to spin, and begin to produce bodies in space, stars, galaxy stars, planets, moons. Well, it's all accidental, right? Yeah. Is the Earth accidental? No. You remember all the just rights? Yeah. Is the universe a just right deal with the galaxies spaced? There's a spacing, a pattern in the universe of galaxies spread out. Yeah, God designed it that way. Yeah. So, did you figure out any first questions? Okay, you're going to have to write a couple of questions down. Why the Big Bang makes no sense. Number one, where did the particles come from in the first place? Where did the atoms come from? Well, they weren't even atoms, they were particles. They hadn't even formed atoms. Atoms are specific. They actually had to be created by God. Each of the 100 plus elements are specific in the way they're designed, the way they hold together. So they couldn't have formed accidentally. So right off the bat, you go, Big Bang, I don't think so. But did you ever think, where did the particles come from in the first place? Well, evolutionists don't like to talk about that. Shh! Don't talk about how it all started. It kind of doesn't make sense. Shh! Silly. So where did the particles come from? Why would they even attract each other? Because the little bitty particles are so far apart, would they have enough mass and gravity to attract each other? No. So that doesn't make sense. And why are the galaxy, stars, planets, and moons rotating? They wouldn't be. It would be like this. It'd be a straight line explosion. But they're all spinning. They're all spinning. Why? Why would they be spinning, rotating? Galaxies are rotating. Stars are rotating. The sun is rotating. Planets are rotating. Moons are rotating. Why would they rotate? They wouldn't. They would just straight line motion or movement. Why do the galaxies have a repeating pattern? You're going to need two of these. Make a note. Two of these questions that argue against the Big Bang. So you can see all six of these pillars, FOAMN plus B, fossils, old age, accident, mutations, natural selection, and the Big Bang idea, none of them work. So is the evolution idea held up at all? No. No. So do not disturb your neighbor. Don't be too loud. But I want you to do this. These are the pillars holding up the supposed pillars of evolution, the support, the science, support science. Holding up the evolution idea, it comes crashing down because the data is so bad. So on the count of three, I want you to show a massive collapse of the evolution idea. Massive. On the count of three. Don't hurt yourself. Okay? Make sure your hands don't, or don't smack your hands on the table, you'll get a bruise. So here we go, the EV pillars, the evolution pillars coming down because the data for each pillar is so weak. On the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Down they come. Now, sometimes I have students write in or draw in a bunch of cracks for each pillar. If you want to do that, you can. The cracks that show it's breaking, it's all weak, doesn't hold up, but you don't have to. You can just go, I know that it doesn't work, doesn't hold together. Okay, I think I told you a couple of bonus points that you can go for. The probability thing of a 250 protein cell, the chance for it ever evolving all by itself, random processes, 1 over 10 to the 41,000. Ain't going to happen mathematically. No way. There's just no, it's such a massive number. If you told that story to any mathematician, they'd laugh. Think, that's an impossible number. Yeah, an impossible probability. So, perfect timing. So, anyway, this weekend, triple R, triple R, triple R, triple R, triple R. So, and on Monday, our last day to review, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over again the categories on the test and give you some of the actual questions on Monday. But you do your study part, huh? Study, study, study. So, and I will see you on Monday. Happy Aloha Friday, Mele Kaliki Maka, and have a great weekend. So, adios.